Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. I hope you're all doing well, inshallah. I'm going to try and make this video as short as possible, and I was coming on to rant, but inshallah I'm going to try and keep it as calm as possible so it can be productive and beneficial. Now, I need to start off with some context. This is not a sob story. I'm not looking for any pity party. Alhamdulillah, I'm very comfortable in my attire, very comfortable being a Muslim who is Scottish in the country of Scotland. I'm very comfortable, alhamdulillah. For anybody who doesn't know, a few years ago I used to do content for a platform called BBC The Social, which was a department within the BBC in Scotland. Okay, they would get local content creators who had passions and hobbies and things like that. Mine was obviously Islam in my life as a Scottish Muslim woman, and because of that I created a video that was regarding hiking. I love hiking. Anybody who knows anything about Scotland knows that it's known for its nature and its mountains and all that sort of lovely stuff. The purpose of that video was to show something that I love, but also how I don't need to compromise the clothes that I wear for something that I love, right? They had reposted that video at the end of August. I didn't realise it until last week. Got around 700k views, so almost 1 million views, right? I don't normally bother with the comment section if I'm completely honest, but when it comes to videos that are on a non-Muslim platform, I usually check them out. I did notice a common thread of comments throughout the comment section that were referring back to hijab in Islam, hijab enforced in Muslim countries because of the events that are going on in other places of the world regarding hijab. But it was also really difficult to see some of the answers that come from Muslims in those comment sections. I think first of all I just want to clarify that I, nor any other Muslim, needs to justify hijab's place in Islam. None of us. We don't need to do it. We don't need the approval of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to validate hijab. We don't need it. It was ordained by Allah. We submit. We take it with honour. The thing is though, we don't expect all non-Muslims to understand the concept of hijab. I was raised as a non-Muslim. I did not get hijab before I was Muslim. I really didn't. So I understand that the values can be different, the culture can be different. Not only that, you just have to look in some Netflix show or some movie. Whenever a woman in hijab is in any of them, she's either being beaten by her husband, or you know, she at some point in the series goes through not a midlife crisis, identity crisis, and you know, has to take off her hijab, or so many other disgusting storylines that I'm not even gonna disrespect myself by saying. And if that's not the insight they get, then the insight they get is from the front page of newspapers, you know? To the point now that when I go outside wearing black, I'm viewed very different if I'm wearing, you know, another colour. We don't expect much from people who don't know Islam, people who don't know Allah and don't know the rulings and some of the wisdom behind the rulings. We don't expect much. But when you see a Muslim buckle under that pressure, it really is disheartening. We should not fear anybody not getting the hijab. We should not fear anybody's snide comments or abuse even. We don't need to compromise ourselves. Every niqabi I know online has gotten probably more abuse from the Muslim community for what they wear than the non-Muslim community. That's where we're at. It's starting to push the balance now, which is ridiculous. As a woman, I wish the best for you. I hope the best for you. But if you make a choice not to wear hijab, it's your business. Do you get me? But I don't understand how some sisters can then deflect that choice onto me. I had a whole situation not that long ago on my Instagram where this woman went off on someone because they complimented me and some other people who were wearing hijab. Aren't we supposed to champion each other when we are getting something right? Aren't we supposed to support each other? Like, where's the sisterhood? So many sisters saying that wearing hijab and niqab, etc. is unnecessary. You don't see the word hijab in the Quran. Like, for me, it doesn't make sense. You're like, right, okay, let's have a conversation about hijab. But they don't want to talk about it because they don't want to know the conditions of hijab. They don't want to research it because they don't want to feel that pressure of then needing to move forward by doing it. And that is mental. This doesn't always apply to hijab. This can apply to all knowledge. All things that we find out that are mandatory for us to do that we don't want to do. We're apprehensive to look into it more because we don't want to feel that pressure. But how else are we going to move forward? And how are we going to progress? At the very least, you should know hijab. No matter what the next choice you make is going to be. If you're a Muslim woman, you should know what hijab is. You should know where it is in the Quran. You should know your sources from the Sunnah. You should know its conditions, so that every choice you make then is at least towards that, even if it's baby steps. But how are you going to make steps forward to the end goal if you don't even know where the path is? How are you going to move forward if you don't even know where it is you're going? Like, our journey in life, our journey perfecting our character, perfecting our practice, etc., it's lifelong. Some things we can do straight away in the moment. Sometimes we need to develop in practice. But this, constantly bickering at each other, pulling each other down, such the opposite of the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, the values and principles and everything we have as Muslims. It's such a shame. But the hijab is not oppressive to women. It is liberating and freeing. And honestly, if you're a Muslim woman and you don't know that, you don't identify with that, I genuinely want to hug you and tell you it's going to be alright and show you why this is. Because nothing you can get from the dunya is going to give you what you can get from Allah, what you can get from His rulings. Look into the life of these celebrities and see how depressed they are. That money, that validation that they seek from millions and millions of people, it doesn't fulfill them. They don't get the validation, the internal contentment that they're looking for. That's only from Allah. That's only from Allah's deen. That's only from submission. That's only from building your knowledge, increasing your character. It's only from that. If I could go back and tell myself things that I know now that I never knew or realised or came to terms with 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, be so much that I'd say either we take what we find in the Quran and Sunnah, we embrace it and then we practice it, or life will teach us that that's all it counts. Internal peace and contentment comes from Allah. We'll not be able to find it in the dunya. Anyway, I didn't want it to turn into a rant, but I think it kinda did. Just know that no offence is meant by this video. Just really want to see better sisterhood and brotherhood. May Allah guide us. May Allah make us better than what we are. May He increase our character, our knowledge. Forgive us for where we go wrong. And allow us to seek His pleasure before anybody else's. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.